Hello and a very warm welcome to Evolving Consciousness. If you are visiting this channel for the very first time, this channel we talk about a gamut of topics, mostly hovering around spirituality, personal development, and evolving the consciousness of each individual into its highest version. Because let's remember, whatever we manifest in our life is truly a reflection of our inner consciousness. From a couple of videos, we've been talking about the 7 spiritual laws of success, the revolutionary and the most pragmatic book which I have ever, probably one of the most pragmatic books which I have read by Dr. Deepak Chopra, a renowned spiritual scientist, if I would call him. This book, we have been discussing about the different laws of spiritual success, and today is going to be the culmination of the laws. We are going to be talking about the 7th law of spiritual success, which is the law of Dharma, our purpose in life. Now, this law is so powerful that it culminates all the 6 laws which we've been talking of so far. Now, what does this Dharma, a purpose, mean? I mean, when we hear of these words, Dharma and purpose, it seems very heavy words, right? It seems words which are very philosophical, words which might not seem practical for most of us. But let me tell you, having a purpose, having a vision for life is one of the most productive things you can do for yourself. Because without a purpose, you won't know where you're navigating. Every Tom, Dick and Harry will pull you apart from your purpose, and you will become just like, you will be a prey to all the windfalls and all the ups and downs in life. But if you have a strong, grounded purpose in your life, that purpose will serve as a north star in the midst of the turbulence, in the midst of the dark nights which each one of us go through in our life. When I say dark nights, the tough times which each one of us go through. But if you have that north star, the pole star, which will help you navigate through all these turbulences, the north star, the pole star is having a purpose. I'm reminded of a beautiful quote which I read in one of the books by Ramin Sharma. He says that the purpose of life is a life of purpose. If we have beautifully articulated purpose in our life will not be hindered by problems, by tragedies. Even tragedy will become a comedy in your life. Because your purpose, you're so grounded in your purpose that nothing rattles you, nothing shakes you from the goal of your life. Now, purpose can be many things for many people. It need not be something very big and magnanimous, but it is essential and central to have a defining central purpose for your life. Now, coming back to our main topic of the 7th law of spiritual success. Now, Deepak Chopra talks about this purpose, right? And I'm also reminded of a beautiful quote by sage Patanjali. He says, "When you are inspired by a great purpose, dormant forces within the universe awaken to fulfill all your desires." Now, Patanjali is one of the pioneers of the yogic system and all the yogic practices which we now are doing. He is the founder, he is the father figure for that. And if you are able to digest the message of that quote, it completely enlightens you from within. Right? It shows the immense power of having a purpose in life, having a vision for life. And in this particular law, Deepak talks about having a purpose. When you talk about having a purpose, he gives a spiritual tangent to that. He says that firstly, each one of us is spiritual being having a human experience. So the first responsibility towards having clearly defining the purpose is to unravel our own consciousness. Is to discover our true self, the true being, which is devoid of thoughts, which is devoid of all the conditioning which we have gone through from the childhood, from the mid-age, throughout our life, to unlearn the conditioning which we have gone through, to experience the timeless being. That is one aspect. Secondly, he talks about recognizing those unique talents which each one of us has. I believe I'm of the school of thought that there are no extra people in this world. Every person has a unique gift to offer to this world. Having said that, it is very important for each one of us to recognize what are those unique talents which each of us possess. Because let's remember, if we don't express our talent, the talent turns into pain. Potential unexpressed turns into pain. Talents unexpressed turns into pain, right? And he says that when we identify those unique talents, thirdly, we need to ask ourselves, how can these creative talents which I possess be of service to humanity, be of service to mankind, be of service to people? So he basically talks about moving from a place, from a consciousness, I want that, I want this, to a consciousness where you start saying, how can I contribute, how can I help through the creative talents which you are gifted with, through the unique creative talents which you are gifted with. So this is a beautiful way of even unraveling our passion, because let's remember, science and the people who research on success, on the most successful people in the world, they know for a fact that the legends are born not out of sheer luck, because these brave souls were so untethered in their determination towards their passion. They really enjoyed what they were doing. And in the process of enjoying what they were doing, they were providing their unique talents and gifts as a service to society. They were expressing those creative talents in the betterment of society. They are adding value in life of people. Now, this need not necessarily be spiritual. It can also be that you are a very passionate musician, and you are very passionate about musician, and that music is bringing solace to millions of people. So you are in your purpose, you are in your dharma. He says that in Sanskrit, dharma basically means to uphold. And how do we know that we are upholding our dharma or not? That is where true authenticity comes. Because unless you are not true to yourself, unless you are not true to your own soul, unless you don't know what you're good at and how you can utilize those creative talents for the upliftment of others, you are basically not being authentic to yourself. So and he says that infinite abundance will fall at the lap of such a person who is aligned with his being and who is contributing his creative, unique talents to the upliftment of others, to provide better value to others. Now, this is how even the material world works, right? Now, if you look at the famous movie stars, the people who are the legends of their industries, what are these people essentially doing? They had some creative talents, they had some unique talents which made them different, but they didn't just leave those talents to themselves and just sit in a couch and say that, oh, I have a talent, that's it. No, they provided value to the viewers. They worked on their unique talents. They worked really hard to shine those unique talents, to nurture those talents and make it an evolved version, make it an even better version. Now, in the process, abundance flowed to them in infinite amounts. They were not lacking for abundance. They were just expressing their creative, unique talents, and abundance was just a byproduct. So this is a beautiful concept in this particular book, which the last law, the law of Dharma, he says. He says that when we are expressing our unique talent, or more than one talent in many cases, we are happy and we lose track of time. When we say we lose track of time, he's referring to a state called flow. In modern day psychology, this is called a state of flow, where we absolutely lose track of time. We are not doing the act for its sake of completion, but we are completely engrossed. We become a part of that activity. There is no distinction between us and that activity. Become merged with that activity. Such is that particular aspect. Now suddenly something really clicked in my mind. When they talk about yoga, right? So most of us have a crippled understanding of what yoga means. They think that yoga is about physically bending your body in different angles and different directions. But essentially the root, the word yoke, means union. And when we talk about the different yoke, right? Karma yoke, jnana yoke, what essentially are we talking about? We're talking about union. And when we talk about union, when you are so engrossed in that activity, in that particular work, such that you become one with that work, that is yoga. And once you do that, magic unfolds. You don't have to try doing magic. Magic happens of its own accord. That's how the laws of universe work, right? And thirdly, he says that when you operate through this consciousness of service, how can I help to those with whom I come into contact? We combine the expression of our unique talent with service to humanity, and they make full use of the law of Dharma. The experience of our spirituality coupled with the expression of our talent in service to humanity gives us access to unlimited abundance. This is the spark that generates abundance, and it's permanent, not temporary. Most of us, some part of our life, do achieve success. But what distinguishes legends from the ordinary, what distinguishes legends from the mediocre, is the fact that legends know how to handle success. They don't let their egos go up their head, and they don't become complacent, they don't become casual about it. They continuously work on honoring their talents. They continuously work on developing their creative talents to such an extent that the world calls them a maestro of their craft. I'm reminded of one of the shows which was hosted by Shah Rukh Khan, and he said something very beautiful. And one of the audiences was a fan, was a very admirer of him, and she said something very beautiful. She said that I have seen people being very successful in some part of their life, but I have seen you handle success like no one else. And that is so true. He's been in the top for such a long time, and he has been able to successfully handle success without being casual about it or without dropping down from the ceiling. And that's why he is so successful so consistently for so many years. That is the mindset of legends. That is the way they operate. That is the consciousness through which they operate. Even now, if you look at his interviews, he doesn't really need to work for anything. He has enough wealth to enjoy his luxurious life, but he still does that. He is constantly expressing his talents to this service. For him, service is entertainment. So he is constantly doing that. So he is aligned in this law of Dharma, the law of purpose. And the third element, right, how we can serve, by asking this question, how can we help, we move from a mindset of lack, that from where we always are thinking about what I can get from it, what I can extract from it, to a mindset of how can I help. And this is basically the crux of this law. And he says something very beautiful, right? He says that self-exploration isn't a task we accomplish and then abandon. So this is not going to be that you start on this journey of spirituality and you set a timeline that after a few years I should be this, I should be that. It doesn't work that way. Spirituality has nothing to do with the linear dimension of time. You can get enlightened in a second, or you can take multiple lifetimes. The consciousness through which we operate in this field is more important than the amount of effort you try to make. He says that every person is a never-ending project of the universe. We are like ships in the night, and the current that holds up and carries us towards the dawn is Dharma. If we open our spiritual eyes and see through the illusion of our conditioning, then the path of Dharma beckons us. It was there all along. It is there now, at this very moment, calling out from the depths of our own awareness. He says that if we want to experience the law of Dharma, there are several things you can do. The first is to seek your higher self through spiritual practice and discover your divinity. The second, to find your unique talents. And third, to serve humanity with the expression of your unique talents. And he says that when your creative expressions match the needs of your fellow human beings. So basically he's talking about the business dynamics, right? Where supply meets demand. So basically when we always need to find this niche area, what is that element, where is that particular intersection point where my passion is also contributing value to my fellow human beings. Now, that particular intersection is where abundance lies. Because we are not going to get frustrated while pursuing our passion. And he says something very interesting. He says that let's say you have all the money in the world and you don't have to work for money. In that scenario, what are the activities would you like to engage in? That would give you the answer for what your passion is. What are those activities which I am not doing for the sake of money? It is not that I will do this and I will start earning money. I am doing it because I love to do it. What are those activities? And when those activities provide value to your fellow human beings, then abundance will flow in infinite amounts to you. Now, this is a beautiful way of unraveling your own passion and unraveling your own interests. When you remove this element of money from it, then you will easily be able to unravel what are those creative and unique talents which can contribute to society. And this unique talent need not be one, it can be multidimensional, right? And we always need to list all the things that you love to do while expressing the talents. And how can I serve? So to summarize, basically operate to the being consciousness. Second, make a list of your unique talents. Then list all the things that you love to do while expressing the talents. Third, asking ourselves on a daily basis, how can I help and how can I serve? The answers to these questions will help you to serve your fellow human beings with a state of love, with a state of unconditional love. Remember, when service comes with a tagline of expectation, it becomes labor. So service needs to come from the heart where you absolutely have no expectation. You're doing something only for the fulfillment you get from it, not because there's a byproduct. So it's very important to constantly monitor your state of consciousness. With that, we come to the end of the series called the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. If you are viewing this for the first time, I will highly recommend you go in a chronological order. There's law 1, law 2, law 3, all the way up to law 7. I found this particular book really helpful, and it is very pragmatic and it can be applied in variety of dimensions of your life. So hope you are able to take some value out of it. And this comes to an end for this particular series of the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. I would request and urge each one of you to constantly repeat viewing this content, because you can feel good while going through this content or reading this book, but the success lies in repetition. The more you repeat the more you expose your consciousness to this kind of content, the more it becomes a part of it, and your default setting starts running through these modes of consciousness, and that's where magic happens. If you really enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe this video. Thank you, and meet you in the next video.